How's it going, everybody? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and throughout the month of July, you're getting some bonus material right here because we're getting ready to go into Gen Con 2024. It's the final countdown for it. We're less than 30 days away from the best 4 days of gaming in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I have a few bonus videos I want to do for you all leading up to the event. So, first, today is going to be a little bit of a Gen Con news and notes thing, just some stuff that I wanted to touch on that has popped up over the past few months, past few weeks, and just give you my thoughts on some of it. There's a bunch that's happened, but these are just some things that I saw that I want to talk about, give you my opinions and thoughts on. Next week, I'll be doing a video about the games that I'm looking forward to, see what I can get my hands on to demo, maybe do some interviews and all, which would be great, and possibly pick up and be able to do some playthroughs here on the channel. I'll also be doing a video about the commander decks that I'll be bringing with me to Gen Con. Each commander deck I have has a story behind it, and I want to share those with all of you. And then finally, a Gen Con itinerary and last minute thoughts before going to the best 4 days of gaming and being able to share that with two members of my family, Hani and Jen, and also with my wife Cindy as we go back up to Indianapolis, Indiana for a full week of coverage that hopefully all of you will join me on, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. But today, let's get into the Gen Con news and notes. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so in no particular order, because a lot of stuff's come down over the past couple months, and I've been busy with a lot of other things, and I haven't had a chance to do one of these videos, but here we go. So first, Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro have announced that they will have a booth at Gen Con this year. There will be a presence. Now, this is the first time that Wizards of the Coast, or WotC, has had a presence at Gen Con proper in quite some time. It's pretty much been ever since Wizards sold back Gen Con to Peter Atkinson and it became Gen Con LLC. It became its own identity. So Wizards of the Coast has basically faded out of it for a good while. When you go to Gen Con, you didn't see any of the statues, you didn't see any of the amazing booths that they used to do, because years ago, for WotC, they would always have either a gigantic castle set up for D&D. One year they had a nightmare landscape for Hecatomb, which was unfortunately one of those short-lived games by Wizards of the Coast back in the day. It was a neat premise, but unfortunately it wasn't the right time for it. But for Gen Con this year, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, to celebrate the late anniversary of Magic the Gathering's 30th from last year with the release of Bloomborough and all, there's going to be a lot that people will be able to see from WotC in the exhibit hall and in the gaming hall. My hope is that they bring some of the statues and backgrounds that they have at MagicCons to Gen Con. That would be cool to see, so then people can get a little taste of what they can get if they go to one of the MagicCons in the future. Also, for WotC and Hasbro, they will be doing secret lair sales at the Hasbro Pulse booth. They have Gen Con, an exclusive event for Game Nights Live and for D&D Live. Both of those are going to be held at the Indianapolis Rooftop Ballroom. And I was able to get a ticket for Game Nights Live. There's about 500 people that are going to be there for that event, and it's going to be a lot different than what they're used to doing for Game Nights Live, which is basically have everybody who can fit in this area and be able to watch as the cast of the Command Zone and Game Nights be able to put on an entertaining game and get fan interaction and everything. And I know they're going to do the same thing here, but it's going to be more of an intimate setting, because you're going to have like 500 people, and then that's it. You won't have a bunch of onlookers going throughout the duration of gameplay, just passing through. And I'm very interested to see how they're going to do the setup for this. Plus, it's the Indianapolis Ballroom. It's going to be a little bit fancy, so hey, it'll be a good time. But it's hard to believe that D&D has been around for 50 years. And I can't wait to see what they do to celebrate this milestone in an RPG that's basically set the tone for many others that have come after it. So, but we'll see what happens. WotC and Hasbro, hopefully you hit out of the park, and if you do, maybe you come back next year and continue this trend. But until then, I look forward to seeing what's going to be at the booths and see if I can get my picture with Watley and a dinosaur. That would be That'd be pretty cool. All right, next up for attendees. Last year was the first year that the food truck rodeo and block party was moved to a new location, which is right in between Lucas Oil Stadium and the convention center itself. This year, it's going to go back to that location. Hopefully, they have the seating area more spread out, a lot more seating available. But if you go to the food trucks, you got the seating area, you got Lucas Oil Stadium, the hallway that where the arcade machines and all are set up, like the pinball machines and everything. That place last year was lined with people trying to sit and eat, and it was very hard to traverse your way through that hallway. So hopefully they were able to change that this year to make it a lot more traversable, and make sure everybody's a little bit more comfortable. And hopefully that will be the case. But there's so many food trucks that want to get into this area. They weren't able to do it, so they're going to be spread out all throughout downtown Indy. Make sure you check out the Facebook pages once they get a list of the food trucks that are participating this year, and see if you can get like any extras. Like some of them are offering free drinks, some of them are offering discounts if you bring a coupon, things of that nature. So if there's a food truck that tickles your fancy, make sure you check out their Facebook page and see if you can get a little bit more bang for your buck. But either way, it's going to be delicious food. I have not had one food truck yet that has been a disappointment. So hopefully that trend will continue this year in Indy. Okay, so next, Lorcana is celebrating 1 year of Disney magic in the trading card game community. Man, that sounds like a Disney tagline if I ever heard it. Didn't mean for it to come out that way, but we're going to keep it in anyway. So, this is the first full year of Lorcana. It made its debut last year at Gen Con, and now it's going to have a full range of events, whether it be for sealed, for constructed, learn to plays, the new, you can battle Ursula and her forces in the new arch enemy style format that they have for the game, and all that's going to be available in multiple locations throughout Gen Con. Now, one of the big things that also people are talking about is that there might be some previews or at least a first look at Shimmering Skies, the 5th set for Lorcana. And hopefully it continues to be a well-defined set and continues the trend of just being able to offer many different characters throughout the vast array of Disney like Disney storylines and everything. I mean, we're getting Wreck-It Ralph. I would like to have a Wreck-It Ralph deck with all the little racers and everything. I think that'd be cool. And plus, in my opinion, one of my favorite villains was always King Candy Turbo from Wreck-It Ralph, and plus I'm a fan of Alan Tudyk, so I can't say nothing about that. But one of the things that a lot of people are talking about is that this is the 5th set for Lorcana. Are they putting out too much too soon? So, in my opinion, real quick, for this, I think they're hitting that fine line, because Magic the Gathering used to do the exact same thing years ago, where it'd be 4 sets plus a core set, so you'd have 5 sets a year. They are pretty much hitting that same stride, and hopefully they keep that, or they could back it off just a tad, make it 4 sets a year, like 1 a quarter, but only time will tell. But so far, the first year, they've done very well. They've corrected some of the things they've messed up on, and hopefully they can continue to improve, and Ravensburger will be a player in trading card game markets for years to come. But only time will tell, my friends. We'll see. All right, so next, Circle Center Mall. For me, has been a staple at Gen Con ever since it was moved to Indy years ago. I would go there. The food court would be like the main thing. It offered a lot of inexpensive options for players who just wanted to grab something and go get back to gaming. Unfortunately, over the years, Circle Center Mall has went down. A lot of stores have left, a lot of restaurants have left, and it's starting to become not a wasteland, but it's definitely not living up to what it used to be back in the day. So it was announced earlier that Circle Center Mall will be closing down and being renovated to be brand new. So this will possibly be the last year that Circle Center Mall will have its current iteration. So if you're a fan of Gen Con, if you have ever been to the event, go to Circle Center Mall, go one last round around the food court or anything like that, go up to the arcade. We're going to be checking out Deadpool and Wolverine at the theater, and we're just going to have fun because it's going to be the last time we'll see this iteration of it. And hopefully, the next time it's open, when we go to Indy, we'll be able to have a good time and go back to the arcade, go back to the theater, and get some really fast food so we can get back to gaming, because that Circle Center Mall food court, especially all the different restaurants they offer in such a small area, was always a good thing. Just a short walk away from the convention center, because sometimes those food trucks are really hard to get to. So the next best thing was to go Circle Center through the Skywalk. Don't have to go into the heat and be able to get food, get back, and get to gaming. Now, at Gen Con every year, they choose local charities to help raise funds for through various events throughout the weekend. This year, they chose two. First off, we have Tangram, which is a organization that focuses on empowering people with disabilities. And there's also Rose Gauntlet Foundation, which is fostering inclusivity and uplifting underrepresented people in the tabletop game industry. Now, both of these charities will be getting funds raised through everything through Card Holla, which, if you haven't done Card Holla or know what Card Holla is, basically it's where all these people come and build a lot of different buildings and lavish designs throughout the entire weekend with cards that are donated from various places and various players. So at the end of Saturday night, around 10 p.m., everybody gathers around Card Holla, pockets full of change, and they just start chucking that change and knocking down these buildings. All the change that is thrown gets donated to the charities. We also have the charity auction that happens with live game auctions every year. It's the last auction that they do each year, and it raises money for these great charities. And it features special items that are donated from the exhibitors, from artists, from authors, from different companies all throughout Indy. But also, there is a cool thing called the Ace of Aces miniatures painting event that takes place. A lot of these master painters for miniatures, they'll paint a set of figures, and these sets usually go anywhere from like $300 to $1,000. And I'm very interested to see what they can come up with this year, and hopefully I can get some pictures of that while I'm at Gen Con. But also, there is a balloon monster or a balloon creation sculpture that's made. It's giant, it's huge, it's freaking huge. And they make it every year, and they'll auction off the first hit for the on Sunday. So they would take a sword that would be coated with orange peel oil, and the person that would get that first hit would take the sword and just start whacking away at the creation, and you start seeing it slowly be destroyed. And then when it's all said and done, you have all these kids that get thrown in there, and they start destroying this monster. And it is one of the scariest things in the history of mankind, when you see all these kids gather together for one cause, and that's destruction. I've seen it so many times just looking down from the sky walk right above where the monster usually is, or where the creation is, and I'm going, oh good lord, they're so organized. Don't upset the kids. And it happens every year, and it's such a great event. And also, they just do a lot of raising funds for that as well, and so much more that happens. And it's one of the coolest things that Gen Con can do. Not only does Gen Con, the event itself, bring so much to the community of Indianapolis, but to be able to make an effect and to make a difference in a lot of these charities each and every year, raising tens of thousands of dollars for these charities, is something that I'm very proud to be a part of every year. I'll either buy something from the charity auction, or I'll donate for the balloon pops, or anything that I can to help out and take part in this great tradition by Gen Con. Okay, speaking of giving, there's another way you can give to the community, and that is through blood donation. Each year, recently, Gen Con has done a blood drive. And the blood drive is held at Lucas Oil Stadium. You're up in one of the skyboxes. You're looking down at the field where everybody's playing games and everything. And you're basically donating a second life. You're donating blood. And they always do something special for the people that are donating and taking their time out and donating blood for a great cause. And this year they do a loot crate for each donation. So each donor gets a loot crate of a lot of different virtual things, where if you need music for a D&D campaign, if you need different ideas for settings, stuff like that, you get it in that loot crate. Also, you get entered into a main drawing where the main drawing is you get the grand prize like $2,000 plus worth of product and services from all these different vendors. And it's such a great addition that they have recently done over the years for Gen Con to do blood donations, because that's one thing a lot of people need. Is you never know when something's going to happen to somebody and they have an injury, they need a blood transfusion, anything like that. So being able to take time out of your gaming schedule to go, and it's like 15, 20 minutes to go and just give somebody a second life, is the way I see it. And I think that's one of the best things you can do. And I will most likely, if I can get over my fear of needles, go up there and be a donor this year. And if I do, I'll be more than happy to film me going in there and getting ready to get stuck. And then you'll see the camera drop because possibly I'll pass out. But we'll see what happens. All right, well, there you have it. That is some of the news and notes that has come up throughout the past few months that's caught my eye. But there's so much more that's coming up at Gen Con. So I'll include links below for the Gen Con site itself, some of the other websites as well that I've seen news from. But if you are on Facebook and if you are a fan of Gen Con, there is a fan of Gen Con Facebook group that you can join. And that way you can be in the know of a lot of the other happenings and specials that are going on throughout the entire weekend of Gen Con. And plus, it's a great community to connect with as well if you're a gamer, because you can organize some games while you're on there. You might be able to find people that you didn't know they were in your area that go to Gen Con, so you might be able to have some friends and a new game group by the time it's all said and done. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let everyone know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs as we continue on the march to Gen Con 2024. So until next time, everyone, stay safe and take care, my friends.